Once upon a time, in a world far, far away, there was a magical land called Numbersville. In this land, people used to live in cozy caves and hunt for their food. One day, a clever little boy named Not decided to find a way to remember how many animals they had hunted. He took a long piece of rope and started tying knots on it. Each knot stood for one animal. Knot's idea was so clever that everyone in the village started using his method. They even made different sizes of knots to show how big the animals they caught were. Many, many years later, in a land called Egypt, people learned how to farm. The great river Nile would flood every year, bringing rich, fertile soil to the fields. The king gave each person a square piece of land to farm. If the flood washed away part of their land, they could tell the king, and he would send someone to measure the lost land and help them reclaim it. This is how people learned to measure land. They called it geometry, which means measuring the earth. Geometry helped them understand shapes and sizes much better. A long, long time ago, in a place called Greece, people learned about numbers and shapes from the Egyptians. They were so excited to learn that they turned math into a wonderful science. When the Greek civilization came to an end, the people of Arabia kept the knowledge alive. They added new ideas and shared them with the world. Finally, the knowledge came back to Europe, where it blossomed and became even more incredible. This is how math began, from tying knots and measuring land. In Numbersville, the children still play a game called Knots and Squares. They tie knots to count their toys and draw squares to measure their playground. It's a fun way to learn about numbers and shapes. One sunny day, Not and his friends decided to explore the ancient world. They traveled back in time to see how people used to count and measure things. First, they visited the cave people. The cave people showed them how to tie knots on ropes to keep track of the animals. Next, they traveled to ancient Egypt. There, the wise Egyptians showed them how to measure land using geometry, just like magic. Then, they visited ancient Greece. The wise Greeks showed them how to use numbers and shapes to solve all sorts of fun puzzles and problems. Finally, they went to Arabia. The Arabs shared their amazing new ideas and showed how math can be used in everyday life. After their journey, Not and his friends returned to Numbersville. They were bursting with excitement to share all the amazing things they had learned with everyone in the village. And so, the children of Numbersville continued to learn and grow, always remembering the amazing journey of math from knots and squares to the wonders of today, with each new discovery making their world a little bit brighter.